This is our news, the weekend edition, and on the broadcast tonight, the Grand Bahama Minister speaks to our news, weighing in on the government's move to purchase the Grand Lucayan Hotel. Plus, more issues for the national flag carrier. Ahead tonight, the chairman talks about tackling those overstaffing challenges and remembering a national hero.
Our news is brought to you by Airline.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Topping the news, State Minister for Grand Bahama, Kwesi Thompson, weighing in on the recent developments regarding the government's decision to purchase the Grand Lucayan Hotel. Thompson says now that the government has paid a $10 million down payment, he believes Grand Bahama's ailing economy is well on its way to recovery. Our Jasmine Brown spoke with the State Minister and has this report.
The government had to act, and so we are pleased that the government is moving in this direction.
Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis on Wednesday confirmed that the government has signed a sales agreement with Hutchison Whampoa for the purchase of the resort at a final sale price of $65 million. Minnis said the government made a down payment of $10 million and will pay the remaining $55 million in installments, but he declined to give a timeline for those payments or how the government will raise these sums. Thompson says the reaction from Grand Bahama residents has been swift, with many applauding the government for the move.
The straw vendors who were able to say, we've heard a lot of talk, we've had enough of the talk, but we now want action. And that was actually most of their reaction, is that we want action. They now see that there can now be movement as a result of the action. That was an important message, and I believe it will resonate to not just to the Port Lucayan, but it will resonate throughout the island of Grand Bahama. Wherever you go in Grand Bahama, that hotel is the central question, because it really can be the catalyst for us and can spark so much more.
Thompson says the changes in Grand Bahama will not be felt overnight, but he encouraged residents to remain resilient.
We have a spirit that will continue to fight, no matter what anybody else says about what happens in Grand Bahama and what the economy is like in Grand Bahama. This is our home. We have no place else to go. This is where we live. And so we will continue to fight. We continue to press to ensure that we recover fully and that we rebound fully. We've made progress, and today we will see even more progress.
The government hopes to find a buyer for the Grand Lucayan Resort within the next 3 to 6 months and has already been reviewing offers from interested buyers. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, the national airline has had its fair share of challenges, and one of them is being overstaffed. Bahamas Air's chairman, Tommy Turnquest, says the airline is in the process of deciding how best to reduce its staff count. Now, while he said they have no layoff exercises planned, there are other options they're exploring. Our Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
1 week after technical issues with a jet caused a nightmare for Bahamas Air customers stuck in Florida, the airline's chairman said they're now working on another issue, overstaffing.
We haven't hired a single person. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've hired a couple of pilots, but we've held the line on employment. We're trying to through attrition, to get Bahamas Air down to where it should be from when I took over as chairman. It would have been around 685 employees for 8 aircraft.
He said that's simply too many people on the payroll.
We're now down to about 620 odd. The managing director tells me, or he didn't tell me, he said in a public speech that I read, or a periodical that I read, and I tease him about it often because in the periodical he says we have over 525 employees. Or I said, yeah, you got a whole lot more than 525 employees, but obviously that's the figure you ought to get below. So that's the figure we're working towards.
This isn't the first time Turnquest mentioned overstaffing at the airline. Just a few months ago, the chairman revealed that officials were seeking ways to reduce Bahamas Air's staff complement. Turnquest explains how that will happen.
We don't have any mass layoff exercises. We're just trying to put people in the right places, try to do things that make sense. There's a lot of talk about what was going on with reservations, but I know when I book a flight, I go online and see what's available and book online, and I think 70% of the people now do that.
He said it's really just a move towards making Bahamas Air a profitable government entity.
It's now it's fallen under me to make sure that we do things that make sense, that we maximize the revenue, minimize the costs, and provide excellent customer service.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyle. Well, today marks 18 years since the passing of the nation's first Prime Minister, the late Sir Lynden Pindling. As is custom, this morning his wife, Governor General Dame Marguerite Pindling, along with Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Fred Mitchell, visited his mausoleum at St. Agnes Cemetery to lay a wreath. Sir Lynden was recently honored posthumously with the Order of National Hero, a national honor designated for those who have given selfless service to the Bahamas of a most distinguished nature.
You know, we, amongst the PLP and others who support the progressive cause, are very concerned that the Prime Minister has nominated Roland Simonet as an equal of Lynden Pindling, as a national hero of this country. That really is a disgrace because there's no match between the two. But it's his appointment and we decry the appointment.
Nevertheless, Mitchell says the National Honors and National Heroes Day is a way for the country to remember the contributions of those like Sir Lynden to the development of the nation.
So we remember today because this man gave his all for the struggle of our nation, to make sure that our nation was created. He fought for equity and justice for all people, for black and white. He fought for the social upliftment of our people and for education.
And we will take our first break here, but still ahead tonight, it's back to school for teachers tomorrow, but just what issues will they face? That's coming up when Our News returns.